Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Curious if you've seen the Unsolved Mysteries docuseries on Netflix. I watched episode 1 yesterday, and man, was taken back in time. So the story is about a gentleman named Ray Rivera who died under some pretty mysterious circumstances. By the way, my condolences to the family. I honestly forgot about this whole thing until seeing the preview of what this was. And I bring this up because I remember this very, very well. I used to work at a company called Agora Publishing. I was there for 20 years. It's no longer called Agora Publishing. Now it's called 14 West. And it's essentially a holding company or a parent company of a number of individual businesses that sell newsletters, sell information on financial, health, and travel. So I worked in the health group, and I'm very familiar with Stansberry Associates, and met Ray Rivera on a couple of occasions. Certainly, not friends or anything like that, but ran into him a couple of times. Hi, how you doing, kind of thing. Very nice, very genuine guy. Seemed kind of shy. And I know Porter Stansberry, who's featured in the show, who was Ray's best friend, convinced him to come out to Baltimore and write for him. And when all of this happened, I remember that there was a search for him. People from Stansberry were coming to the different offices and asking, did anybody know him and know where he was, and asking to help the search. It was a big deal back then. It was a big story here in Baltimore as well, because it was very, very odd, like everything that went down. After his body was found, the word was out that it was a suicide. I actually didn't know that they listed it as a undetermined until watching the show. So from my vantage point, I've always known it as a suicide. But man, the facts that they showed in the docuseries was interesting. But what I wanted to talk about was the way they depicted Porter Stansberry in this. I thought it was a little unfair. What I can tell you is he sent an email to the entire company about the loss of his friend, how it impacted him, suicide in general, and the impact it has on the people that are left behind, and really encouraging anybody feeling depressed or feeling suicidal to reach out, encouraging anyone who knew or thought someone they knew was suicidal to try to reach them in some way. It was a touching email. It really was. Now, I don't know why he didn't want to participate in the documentary. It seemed to me like they had a kind of way they wanted to frame it. And let's be honest, when they're putting these shows together, they frame it in certain ways. My wife was featured on an episode of Oprah, and I really got a sense for, how they put the shows together and the story that they want to tell. What I saw, the guy that I knew at that time and after, isn't what they depicted on this show. Now, I will say, Porter is a very unique guy, to say the least, and I think anybody who knows him would agree. He is uber confident. He does not mince words. He's brutally honest, which, I kind of respect. But there's also a definite sensitive side to the guy and a human side to the guy. Oh, and then there was this comment in the show about a gag order. I do not know of any gag order. And what I can tell you of the company as a whole is that news got around. if there was a gag order, like, we would have known. You know, I would have known. I would have heard about it. So I don't believe that at all. Now, the SEC situation, all of that's true. It's all public record. Personally, I think it was a First Amendment issue. I think the judgment was unfair. But that's just my opinion. You know, think what you will with regards to Porter's business and how he makes money. But, you know, he provides information. You know, he does the research on it. He puts it out there for the public. And there is a group that wants that information, is willing to pay for that information. And in fairness, like anybody who doesn't like the information that they get, they're free to, you know, ask for a refund, and they get it. I don't want to get too much into that. I'm more focused on like the person that they portrayed. And like I said, I feel horrible that this happened to Ray, but I don't think that the way they're portraying Porter in this is necessarily fair. You immediately get this uneasy feeling, and oh my God, the comments on the internet, on Twitter, on Reddit, and all that stuff. I mean, whew, brutal, calling him a murderer. You know, somebody called him the new Carol Baskin. I just thought that was extremely harsh, and I don't know why I feel the need to mention any of this stuff, but I will tell you that my experience with the guy, Porter in particular, at his core, decent guy. There's kind of the image and the work persona of Porter. And then there was another guy who like went out of his way, called me up out of the blue after not talking to me for a couple of years and said, hey, let's go grab lunch. And then it gives me some business advice, which turned out to be pretty good advice. But, you know, murderer, no. Or involved in this situation, I highly doubt. And trust me, he could give a shit what I think or what anybody else thinks. I think it'll hurt him a little bit, you know, considering his friend, and, you know, all of this has to drum up some feelings that he had, you know, back then. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. Just wanted to share my opinion. You know, not that anybody cares, but it was just weird, kind of reliving that whole thing. But that's it. And yeah, I don't think Porter was portrayed very well, but just my point of view on that.
No! What are you waiting for? Do it!